just something interesting about OTAs, and really, I wanted Hunter Renfrow to be a topic of discussion kind of alone a few days ago, but it's all kind of hearsay right now. If you want to talk about theories, I think it is entirely possible right now that the Raiders have a deal in place to trade Hunter Renfrow in 2 days from now, uh, June 1st. Because if anybody listening has ever heard of the post June 1st
Designation.
designation, yeah, that is an event that is coming up this week. There will be a lot of moves made post June 1st. Because contracts, I don't know the exact details, but contracts are kind of affected differently, especially in like future years when post June 1st moves are made. So essentially, if the Raiders cut or traded Hunter Renfrow right now, it would make no financial sense. But in 2 days from now, post June 1st, it could make some sense if they get the right return or if they just, for some stupid reason, want to just offload his contract, they could cut him. But again, that's stupid to me. I think he's too valuable. But if they want to shore up a linebacker or a corner or a safety, defensive tackle, or even an offensive lineman, I understand why they would want to trade him. Um, Considering how he played last year, I think he was a little on and off. He fumbled the ball a couple times, and he wasn't fully healthy. I can see why this coaching staff might have a little different feeling towards him than fans do. But at the same time, Hunter Renfrow is one of my guys. I don't want to see him go. So, but it's just interesting. There's been a lot of rumors lately, and I just kind of wanted to say, like, I do think it's very possible that right now there's already a trade in place that the both teams are just waiting for June 1st to pass.
Mm-hmm.
It's also possible that they're just waiting to cut him. But the other reason I wanted to bring up Renfrow is because OTAs obviously started recently, and the notable names that were missing from OTAs, and this is optional training. I don't know what it stands for, but basically the players don't have to come. Um,
It's not
but
mandatory.
it's not mandatory. There you go. So Jimmy G, not there for obvious reasons now. That was, like you said, that's probably why everything came out. It's because he wasn't here. Tyree Wilson, first round pick. Funny enough, he is also coming off of a foot surgery. And that was a thing coming in and out of the draft, was that this was a concern with him. Um, and just like Jimmy G, maybe a little bit more optimistically, Tyree Wilson is expected to be back by training camp. Josh Jacobs is missing from OTAs. That is because he was given the franchise tag and he has not signed it. Players under those circumstances cannot go to OTAs. And then Trevon
Is
Merrick.
is the
Go ahead.
understanding that Jacobs will eventually sign it, or is he gonna hold out?
Um, I think in a couple of weeks we'll probably really find out. I would expect a holdout, um, but I would also expect it to get figured out. You know, I I don't think he wants to play on the franchise tag, for obvious reasons. Um, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. That should definitely be a topic for another day.
Who's the
Um,
backup behind Josh Jacobs? Is it
Zamir White, Brandon Bolden, and Amir Abdullah. They didn't draft anybody this year at running back. They didn't even get an undrafted free agent, but they had a few guys from last year. Zamir White was a guy that I really liked out of last year's draft, but they didn't give him any carries. They gave Jacobs everything. I mean, he had 50% of the offense last year. And if they intend to keep doing that, like, I don't see how you don't sign him, but also, sometimes teams run running backs into the ground because they can contractually, and the players want that workload so that they can go get a big contract, but they run that risk of getting injured and they're cooked. So again, I can understand why Josh Jacobs wants that big contract right now.
well, yeah,
Um,
no, and he's fully within his right to do so. He could
yeah,
tear his ACL knock on wood, he could get seriously injured, and there goes the big payday that he's been working super hard for his whole life. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, he got drafted in the first round, and he got money, but we're talking big, like,
Yeah, this
ching.
is
You know what I'm
yeah, this
saying?
is like he got life
You know
changing
what I'm
money. This is
saying?
yeah, he already got life changing money, but this next contract would be his
Like,
grandchildren's lives.
triple that.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, Jacobs has been out of OTAs for obvious reasons. And then the other two players are Trevon Merrick, the free safety, ex second round pick for the Raiders. I don't know exactly why he's missing OTAs. It might have to do with some injuries that he had last year. I'm not sure. Um, and then the final name of note is Hunter Renfrow. And that is the specific reason why my
You think he's going
theory,
to get traded?
yeah, I think that they might have told him, hey, stay home. We don't want you
Yeah, we
getting
don't
hurt.
need you getting hurt.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I'm not saying, I think for sure that's what's happening, but the writing has been on the wall all offseason. Once they signed Jacoby Myers, almost said Brissett, um, they drafted a guy in the third round, a slot kick returner guy, Trey Tucker, and they signed a couple other Philip Dorsett. It's like these are a lot of guys that play in the slot, and you already have the slot god in Hunter Renfrow. It's like I don't know. So I just
Hunter
it wouldn't
Renfro
shock me, but
always struck me as like a diet version of Cooper Cup,
yeah, yeah, for sure. More
like
of
Cooper
like
Cup
the
light.
yeah, exactly. Cooper Cup is more of an outside receiver. He's more of a Devontae Adams, just do it all. Whereas Hunter Renfrow is very slot exclusive, but his route running is top tier, and his hands are also very reliable. And he's really shifty, like
He is
really
very
great,
shifty.
very great field awareness. He makes some really good moves on the field for his like not so physically impressive as he is. Like he
Like,
makes good
he's
moves.
not a ginormous athletic specimen, but he has
No,
great control over his body.
right. But at the same time, like if you saw this Trey Tucker guy, like or maybe think of like a Tyreek Hill or something, like a small guy, but they have an attribute like speed or really amazing elusiveness, like a Barry Sanders. That's like difference making. It's like Hunter Renfrow. Just I think it's his field awareness. Um, but Hunter Renfrow to me is a guy that comes off like keep your head down, no need to say anything, just go out there and put in work type of guy. So the fact that he's missing out on these OTAs just seems interesting to me. I mean, I heard somebody say that OTAs are kind of a way to like help implement an offense to like the new players, and it's good to have the leaders there to help teach that, but you know, some of those guys that are there from last season don't need to be there type of thing. So maybe he's just getting extra time away or something. I don't know, but again, he's the type of guy that seems like a leader, and for him to not be there seems interesting to me.
Out of character.
Yeah, it seems out of character. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
very well might be right. Kind of seems like from what you said, the writing's on the wall.
yeah.
But I guess we'll know the further we get into OTAs and the closer that we get to training camp.
I think we might know by the end of this week if it's really a thing. We should know by Friday. But it's also possible that once June 1st comes, then the Raiders start talking to teams. I don't know. I have no idea. I also, again, I would keep them. So, but maybe they can get a
Now,
really good player.
yeah, if the Niners weren't so stacked, I would take Hunter Renfrow.
Dude, I
I
think
just
Hunter
think they
Renfrow would
have.
be amazing on the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, maybe he could replace Juwan Jennings, but they're just completely different skill sets.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
think
why I
Ray
think
Ray
he would fit.
McLeod kind of brings what they would use Hunter Renfrow for.
Mhm.
Our receivers right now, I think the depth chart is obviously Debo, obviously Ayuk. We've got Juwan Jennings, number 3. Got obviously Ray. I already mentioned. We signed this guy. I think his name is Isaiah Winstead. He's an undrafted rookie who looks pretty good. There's a rookie who looked very fast and had a couple flashy plays on social media. His name is Jacour Pearson. He's from the XFL, and apparently he was like offensive player of the year or something like that. But Niners have not signed him, but he has worked out with them. Anybody is free to sign him. So whoever gets him, I think will get somebody who might be able to contribute here and there. Niners also have Danny Gray, the 3rd round pick from last year.
Right.
I don't know if we drafted anyone else or signed anyone else, but I know there's got to be more wide receivers on that depth chart. But you got to also consider this too. It's the Niners would have to give up something to get Hunter Renfrow. Niners are kind of strapped for draft capital as it is. Well, okay, because of the McCaffrey trade. I was going to say we finally finished paying off Trey Lance. It's about damn time. But
paying off?
Yeah, the draft picks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we finally have a first again.
Yeah.
So I just don't see what necessarily we would gain. We would have to probably pay Renfrow if we did trade for him. I think he would be a good addition to the offense, but I don't know if the bang for your buck is there to pursue him, because this, at the end of the day, the 49ers are a run first team, and that's kind of their bread and butter. And I think they'll continue to be a run first team unless Brock Purdy comes back and is 100% healthy, and then they can go back to their short passing offense and occasional, set up a player downfield. Like, I think the way the Niners offense was operating at the end of the season was beautiful. It was beautiful offense.
I want to say one thing about the Raiders, and then I want us to finish with the Niners. Okay.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, as far as OTAs and like going into training camp goes, just some positional battles to look out for the Raiders. Backup wide receiver, and that might include the slot if Renfrow goes, but specifically like the 4th and 5th receivers, there are a plethora of guys on the Raiders roster at wide receiver. It's going to be an amazing fight for those 2 or 3 spots on the roster. Right guard, I couldn't tell you who's going to start right now, unless it's Dylan Parham, the 3rd rounder from last year, who played left guard last season. He naturally was a right guard in college. That might be the better spot for him, and maybe we have a positional battle at left guard. We'll see. Basically, every possible linebacker position, whether it's inside and outside or whatnot, like everything goes for linebacker. D tackle from the starter down, corner, outside corner, and slot. And again, top to bottom, just interesting. And then free safety. There are a lot of bodies that can fill those positions currently. And I don't know, I think, for these positions that don't have top end players, I really like what Dave Ziegler's done in the sense of making sure that the positions have potential to find somebody to do a good job. Like last year at right tackle, it felt like this is horrible. They went into like week 4 still doing the position battle where they would switch the rookie 7th round pick, forgetting his name right now, and Jermaine Eliminior. And eventually Jermaine Eliminior won the battle.
Jermaine Eliminior?
Yeah, Eliminior. I don't know.
Jermaine Eliminior.
Open the door. Nice. But he ended up winning the battle after like week 4. Outright started from the rest of the season and did consistently was uphill. Like he consistently got better and better, and it worked out. And that's what I'm hoping for at corner. If it can't be a guy that's like a perennial, or not perennial, but like a guy that is immediately promising, like say a
Mhm.
Jacorian Bennett, the rookie corner from Maryland this year, 4th-round pick. I'd love for him to just go out there and just win the starting job and just take it and run it and become a top 10 corner in the league, but I doubt it, But at least they have enough bodies that I can see somebody coming out on top and it be a respectable starter this season. Like I think our first episode, I was very negative towards this team and what I expected based off of the schedule. But my thing that I kept saying was I've seen crazier things happen. I can see this team barely winning 6 games. I can also see this team squeaking out 10 wins and making the playoffs. But there's a lot of middle area where they'll probably land.